Well, Western Sydney Wanderers and Brisbane Roar played out one of the great A-League games back in 2016 on this site before the rebuild. A 9-goal finals thriller in front of a raucous crowd in Parramatta. Safe to say, things haven't quite gone according to plan since for either. That 5-4 win for Wanderers that sent them into a third grand final remains their last victory in finals football. And Brisbane's only finals win since came 12 months later on penalties, when the two met again at Suncorp. Now let's check on the team news for today's game. The Wanderers go with an unchanged 11 for the third match in a row. Callum Nieuwenhof and Roman Amalfitano already forging what looks like a formidable platform in central midfield. Nieuwenhof has 10 tackles already. That's more than any other player in the competition. Brandon Borrello faces his former club for the first time since leaving Australia in 2017. On the other flank, Kusini Yangi will again provide cover for Adama Traore and Thross going forward. Milos Nikovic is fit to play despite that nasty facial injury against Victory last week. Daniel Wilmering is on the bench looking for his first senior action in 16 months. Still no Oli Bozanic or Yeni Mbakoto. Roar in their change strip of all grey today. They make just the one change. Jordan Courtney Perkins getting his first start in what is his second stint with the Roar as replacement for Carlo Armiento. His extra physicality perhaps preferred to deal with the muscular Brandon Borrello on that side of the pitch. Charlie Austin and Connor Chapman both start after their highly publicised blow-up at half-time against Melbourne City last week. Henry Hoare still the main absentee. Nikola Miljusnic returns to the bench with Ramat Akbari not part of today's matchday squad. So Roar get us underway 8 years ago. They met in a grand final at Suncorp in front of 50,000. Both clubs in the rebuilding phase, which seems to be a yearly occurrence for the Wanderers. Have they finally got the blend right, Daniel McBreen? Early days, of course.
Well, going off last week's performance, the team structure and the execution, you have to say they're well on the right track. Brisbane, on the other hand, I think they got it all wrong tactically last week, first half in particular. Sat way too deep, disjointed, there was errors as well.
And perhaps need to be a bit more aggressive today.
Yeah, I think the first game of the season they came out, they were aggressive, they had most of the play, there was balls in the box, and it was just a complete different mindset last week. I mentioned it in the call that last season they did the similar thing against Melbourne City.
So Adama Traore hits one from range, not a bad effort. He's not a regular goal scorer. Last scored in this competition for Melbourne Victory against Perth in 2013. Gave it some power.
Don't mind him having the strike from there. He had the space in front of him. I just think this Brisbane team look much better when they are more on the front foot, more aggressive in their press. I think that would also suit a star striker as well to further up the field.
Here's Charlie Austin, chance for Brisbane. And he should have played in Jordan Courtney Perkins. Why did he not do that?
Well, see, no goals yet, and I think that could have a contributing factor. As you see, just off camera there to the left, Courtney Perkins is in acres of space, and he realises straight away as he tries to dig it out.
Worked out towards Gabriel Cleur, and has lost out to Jordan Courtney Perkins. No disrespect to Carlo Armiento, but I think that's a good change on that side of the pitch made by Warren Moon today. Get your view in that in a moment, because Brisbane are away here. It's Joe Knowles who's wrong side of Marcelo, and he clips the outside of the post, and another chance goes begging for Brisbane in the opening 5 minutes. They could be 2 up already.
Well, he's shown a clean pair of heels here, didn't he? Joe Knowles, he's away, and now he's got all the time in the world to think about what he's going to do. Lawrence Thomas came out, spread himself, hits the outside of the post, and as you say, Simon, it could be 2-0 inside the first 4 minutes. Warren Moon and Brisbane Roar going to rue those chances.
Now, you mentioned in the pre-game the fact that Merchler and Marcelo, very good last week, very solid, squeezed the pitch, but they can be vulnerable to players getting in behind.
Yeah, and we saw there. Marcelo obviously not the quickest across the ground.
Ball over the top. What an opening 5 minutes. This is a Wanderers have opened the scoring. Goodness me. It's Sullivan Krupic. with his second of the season after those two big chances for Brisbane. The Wanderers strike at the other end. 1-0 to the red and black.
Well, we just said that Brisbane may rue those missed chances, and Western Sydney have made them pay dearly. What an opening first 5 minutes. The Harvey Norman replay will show it's just a straight ball over the top. All three Brisbane defenders caught square, and KEEPUP just runs through. Ball holds up nicely and slots it down the side, and 1-0. And after possibly being 2-0 down in the first 4, they find themselves in front. And Warren Moon must be pulling his hair out on the sideline.
Tidy finish by the Bosnian. Gabriel Kleur driving forward unchecked. Amalfitano in support. We're going to hang it up towards KEEPUP. Chapman was underneath him. Ninkovic. Laid off by Traore. Ninkovic again. Patience from the Wanderers. To get the big Melbourne derby to come later on tonight. Should be a crack of that. Sold out signs up already. Here's Cassini Yengi. And a corner off Hingen.
Well, a rare forward foray from Cassini Yengi there. Great run, just got inside Jack Hingett. Did well to get back.
They put Jordan Holmes under heavy pressure from the last corner from Borello. Is it going to be a similar sort of area? A little bit flatter this time. Did that come off the arm of Austin?
No.
Amalfitano. They were by his side anyway. And Marcelo climbed highest above Chapman. A metre either side of Jordan Holmes, and Brisbane are in trouble there.
He got up well, didn't he? Just watch him here. He attacks, he gets up early, doesn't allow Connor Chapman to get a jump in. Good downward header, straight at Jordan Holmes.
Jordan Holmes well out of his penalty box. It's a good ball too. Sadly the same couldn't be said for Courtney Perkins. Floated forwards by Thomas. Chapman was there first. Good strength by Yengi. O'Shea. Tiny work by the Irishman. Courtney Perkins gets the head up and tries to find Austin. Instead it's Danzaki. It's a good save by Lawrence Thomas. Had to react quickly to keep it out.
Well, I don't think it was the pass he intended or the cross he intended. It worked out well in the end.
Spin by Miloš Ninkovic. Got him out of a bit of trouble.
He's really grown into the game as well, hasn't he? He's popping up all over the pitch, picking up the ball, just moving it.
And that is half-time at Combank Stadium. Suleiman KEEPUP with the only goal. It came after just 5 minutes, and quite an opening 5 minutes it was too. Brisbane had two good chances before that. Lawrence Thomas had to make one good save towards the end of that opening stanza to deny Riku Danzaki. But at the interval, it's a rather familiar scoreline for the Wanderers, who've won their opening two games by the only goal. It is Western Sydney Wanderers 1, Brisbane Roar 0. No changes made as yet by the coach. Lawrence Thomas had one save to make from Riku Danzaki as the first half drew to a close. I'm sure the instruction from Warren Moon is to to make him work a bit harder in this second 45. But they've had their chances, Brisbane. And they finally find a goal in this second half. Or will it be 1-0 to the Wanderers again? Might be more than that. They've got a corner straight from kick-off, Daniel McBreen.
Well, stern words again in the half-time break for Brisbane. And let's see if it has the positive impact desired. Hasn't been too much to shout about. Nice trickery there from Ninkovic.
He's got that in his locker, hasn't he?
He's enjoying himself, isn't he?
And he's in the penalty area waiting for this corner. It's about to be delivered by Brandon Borrello. Tom Aldred climbed highest, back in by Nieuwenhof. Aldred there, and he got a whack. Clash of heads with Marcelo. And Ben Abraham rightly brings play to a halt for the moment, so that big Tom Aldred can perhaps get a bit of attention.
Yeah, he just caught the back of Marcelo's head, didn't he? Just as he went up. Marcelo just gets up a little bit later, and you see there they come together, and if Tom Aldred goes down, you know he's in pain.
Two muscular central defenders, occupational hazard for both. Well, I've had a few of those in his time, playing in the lower leagues in England and up in Scotland. Back by Aldred is okay after that head clash with Marcelo. He's going to get away though from Jack Hingan. Chapman return serve at half-time. Charlie Austin. Danzaki. A bit of confusion between Knowles and Austin, but Austin takes charge. Knowles. Powerfully clear by Merchula. Yengi, all wrapped up by two Brisbane players. Knowles, it's a good run by Joe Knowles, and Austin in off the post, a Brisbane equaliser, and Charlie Austin, who's been so frustrated by the lack of service at the outset of his career with the Roar, is finally off the mark. Brisbane's marquee man with his first goal in the A-League, and it's 1-1.
Well, whatever was said at half-time, it's obviously had the right effect. We see there the tributes to a former teammate and friend. It was fantastic play down this right-hand side. Harvey Norman replay will show outnumbered and looked like he was going nowhere. Managed to find the space. Joe Knowles just gets in between there at the Amatraore court, and he looks up and sees Charlie Austin around that penalty spot. Didn't catch it as cleanly as he would have liked, but he won't care as it goes in off the post. And the long drought is over, and maybe the changing point in their season. Only his second touch in the front third of the match.
But it's one that counts. Brisbane's first goal of the campaign, and the first time the Wanderers have conceded this season as well. Is there a push on Kripic there by Aldred? He certainly thought so. You did too, Macca.
Yeah, I agree. Now it'll be interesting to see how this affects Brisbane.
Will they be galvanised by it? That's clever from Danzaki. And Hingert has got there ahead of Traore. All of a sudden, the Wanderers in a bit of trouble, sorted out for the moment by Nieuwenhof at the expense of a corner. Slung in towards the near post where Scott Neville was stationed. Chapman trying to get a piece of it. Oh, it's off the crossbar, and Scott Neville could not miss, but the flag is up and it won't count. Well, the Wanderers were in all sorts there, and Scott Neville, just for a brief moment, thought he'd put the Roar 2-1 up.
As the ball fell, so Kevin falls to this back post area. It was Connor Chapman, was it? Not sure who that strike is. I think he's on.
I think he's onside there.
Oh, that's tight. That is tight.
The VAR, of course, will be checking all that. And the decision stands. No emotion on the face of Marco Rudan, but inwardly, I reckon he's breathing a big sigh of relief. Scott Neville's goal rubbed out. I'd be fascinated to see the lines, to see just how close that was. Because I know that this season there's a little bit of an element of doubt that's been brought in as well. There's a less than a certain amount of gap between onside and offside. They're supposed to go with the attacking team. Anyway, on we go. Here's Roman Amalfitano through the legs of Neville. Murillo tees it up. It's Gabriel Clerc and over the top by Kusini Yengi. And the Wanderers could have gone from potentially 2-1 down to 2-1 up in the blink of an eye there. It's
key moments again. Immediately, almost from the restart, Kusini Yengi with an opportunity. 10 yards out, right in front. More positive pressing from Brisbane, applying pressure higher up the field, forcing the error.
They look energised, don't they? After that equaliser, now pushing to go in front. Courtney Perkins with the cross. And seen out by Traore. It'll be another corner for Brisbane. Charlie Austin and Tom Aldred looking to make their move. O'Shea's ball in. Headed away by Yengi. Quite set for Courtney Perkins. Aldred got a touch in it. That's handball by Borello. Free kick in a really promising position for Brisbane. Brisbane have got plenty of players trying to cause mischief either side of that wall as well. It is blasted through, deflected! And yet, it's going to be disallowed.
Is he saying that the wall infringed on... Well, I can't see anything in that. That's, to me, is a ludicrous decision. I can't see...
Well, was one of the Brisbane players slightly impeding Kusini Yengi? I mean, you're talking fine margins. It comes in from O'Shea and goes off Nieuwenhof.
I can't... I can't agree with that decision at all.
Yeah.
Right, have a look here. There is nothing in that at all. Nothing.
I mean, he's not even moved him out of the way.
No, he's barely brushed against him.
Well, that is a massive talking point. Danzaki. Threaded ball through is a good one. Sullivan Kripic, and it comes back off the goalkeeper, who then has to make himself big to block the follow-up. Better from the Wanderers.
He's done well there. Jordan Holmes has done exceptionally well. The double save. Certainly pushed Western Sydney, haven't they? Lucky with an offside call and a new ruling on the wall, the free kick. Western Sydney seem to have weathered that storm, but still 10 minutes or so left.
Nieuwenhof. Find the run of Nazarene, and he did that. Bravery from Jordan Holmes to shut down that opportunity. The Wanderers still have it though. Borello. For a little give and go with Nieuwenhof. The cutback is not bad. Brought down by Ninkovic, wouldn't sit for the Wanderers. Volleyed away, and then is there a foul by Murchela?
Yep. just stepped across the line of Mile Usnic there, didn't he? And this was that ball from Ninkovic. Good run from Rami Nazarene. Jordan Holmes gets out, spreads himself. Looked like there could have been a collision there. Well, yeah, maybe there was.
Marcelo. Claire. Claire looking to go beyond. Morello happy to use him as a decoy. Sapswood got a foot in. Strong play by the youngster. Thumped clear by Armiento. Ball had already gone out. It's going to be a Wanderers throw-in. And it could be all on this. They've taken it quickly, and they get a corner. Moon not happy that his team were almost caught napping there. This might be the last chance for Western Sydney. Into the final minute now. Borello's corner, and Jordan Holmes punched, and Zaki gets a bit on it. Reset through Amalfitano. Borello again. Needed more elevation.
It was a disappointing cross, wasn't it? Last minute of the game, everybody in the box to get that some air. Those big players to attack it.
Sands of time nearly up on this game. Gabriel Pleur's going to launch the long one. Marcelo is looking for the flick on. It is with the Brazilian. Brisbane see it out. And they go and pinch the points at the other end. Maybe not. And there we go. Well, it was a game that had plenty of talking points. Not least the opening 5 minutes as the two coaches shake hands. Suleiman Krupic putting the Wanderers in front after Brisbane had had two gilt-edged chances in those opening moments. And then Charlie Austin with the equaliser 5 minutes into the second half as Brisbane were resurgent in the second stanza. They had 2 goals ruled out as well. And in the end, they have to settle for a share of the spoils. The Wanderers remain unbeaten. Perhaps Marco Rudan will view that as a missed opportunity, even though they will go top for the moment. Brisbane dig in following their week from hell off the pitch to earn their second point of the season. Something to build on for Warren Moon. Something to ponder on for Marco Rudan, you feel. Full time in Parramatta. Western Sydney Wanderers 1, Brisbane Roar 1.